Welcome back, my math party people. Anderson here, your math coach. And in this video, well, you made it. If you're watching this video, that means that you should have gone through all four of those separate ideas in terms of when you are multiplying powers, dividing powers, powers to a power, and also negative powers as well, or negative exponents. If you've gone through all four, then you're ready to start mixing and matching these topics together, starting with this first set. So what you're going to see is that this is one of 5 guided practice videos, because then after that, if you're in the course of the program, you'll get the opportunity to go ahead and practice with those worksheets. And then from there, you'll get the other opportunity to do those speed drills to really showcase what you know. So I'm going to go through 5 different types of problems here with these guided practice videos. That way you can really see every which way these can be combined and crush this at the end of the day. So let's get to it here, starting with the first one. Here we go. We have a lot going on here, right? We got a parentheses, we have an exponent to an exponent here, negative exponents, multiplying powers. We have a lot going on. But remember, take it one step at a time. Let's treat this like PEMDAS. Let's treat this like the order of operations. Remember, the first thing you do is you go ahead and try to simplify the parentheses first if you can. Then we'll take care of the exponent. And then we'll go ahead and multiply and do our thing. So don't worry, it might seem confusing, it might seem like there's a lot to do, which there is, but still just take it one step at a time. If we go about it that way, I can guarantee you we'll have a sense of calm, cool, and collectedness. So let's go ahead and get started here. So what you might notice here is that we have ourselves, hey, a negative exponent inside of that parentheses. And typically what we want to see is, well, we want a positive, right? Typically we want a positive with that final answer. You can take care of the negative now, or you can take care of it at the end. It's really gonna be up to you. Really, truly gonna be up to you. So watch what I'm doing here. I can take this one way and I can go ahead and just change this piece right here. I can change that to b to the power of 6, leave that up top, but that a to the power of negative 3, what did I say in the previous video? If you have a negative exponent, you can make it positive by moving it to the denominator or back and forth between the top and bottom. So we'll have a to the power of 3 right there. As always, my ASVAB party people, thank you for watching this video. Before we continue, just wanted to remind you that if you're struggling with the ASVAB, if you struggle with test anxiety, blanking out on problems, then you need to consider the ASVAB All-Access Program. Thousands of my students have tried it out, and they have always raised their scores if they use it the right way. Because there's always a way to learn for whatever method you like best. From recorded lessons, to live classes, to guided practice videos, to printable worksheets, to speed drills to help you test and raise your confidence and speed, to casual practice that comes with video solutions. Every single way that you can think of, over 10,000 questions, all of it lined up for you, ready for you to get started right now. So at the very least, check out the link in the description so you can see exactly how it works and why, again, over 1,000 of my students have raised their scores with it all the way through. I'm proud of you. Let's keep working hard and let's get back to the video. But don't forget, check out that program. I think you'll like it. And so again, that's still in the parentheses, that's still to a power of 2, and we're still multiplying by ba cubed. Still doing all that, still doing all that. But now that I see it this way with a positive, it might make it easier for some people. But remember, at the end of this problem, I'm gonna come back and show you how to do it if you just left the negative as is, and you'll still get the same answer. So if you have it like this, now what you'll do is you'll apply the power to a power law. Yes, you have a numerator and you have a denominator. That's fine. It's all still one term. So when we do that, once we do that, we'll have ourselves b to the power. What's the power to a power law again? Oh yeah, you're going to go ahead and multiply those exponents. So we have a power of 6 to the power of 2. That's 6 times 2, which is 12. And then we have 3 and 2, and that's going to be to the power of 6. So we have b to the power of 12 over a to the power of 6. Next, what we have is, again, multiplying the ba cubed. If you wanted to, remember, when you're multiplying things, a fraction by just some terms, you can honestly just go ahead, append it up top. Just like that. You're absolutely allowed to do that. And once you do, what you will realize is that, hey, we have ourselves b to the 12th times b, and that'll end up being b to the power of 13. And then we still have the a cubed, and then we have the a to the power of 6 in the denominator. And so now we can look at this and say, hey, let's apply that quotient law, that division property here. And what we'll see is that we have 6 on the bottom, 3 on top for the A, because again, the same base. And so now, what do? Well, we have 3 A's on top, 6 on bottom. 3 of them cancel out on the top and bottom. 6 minus 3 leaves you with 3 left over. But that'll be on the bottom because that's the bigger exponent. So you have b to the power of 13 over a cubed. And that, right here, my party people, will be the final answer, B. But again, if that was a little confusing, don't worry. Let me do this another way. Let me show you how you can still get the same answer if you did it another way. Look, let's go ahead and go back to the beginning here. And let's pretend that we didn't care about that negative for a second. Let's pretend we didn't. So let's go ahead and apply the power to a power law and multiply those exponents. Because once we do that, what we'll have is a to the power of negative 3 times 2. Negative 3 times 2, what's that going to be, my math party people? That's going to be 6. That's going to be 6. So let me go ahead and just write 6 right there, a to the power of negative 6. Next up, what do we have? We have the b right here to the power of 2 times 6. And so right there, 2 times 6 is going to be 12, so that's going to be 12 right there. We still have the b and the a cubed, right? We still have the b and the a cubed. So what do we do next? Well, it looks like we have the product of power laws. We have same bases, so what we're going to do with those same bases is add those exponents. So here's what we have, everybody. For the a's, we see that we have a to the power of negative 6, a to the power of 3. So negative 6 plus 3, well, that's the same thing as saying 3 minus 6. So that'll end up being a to the power of negative 3. And then with the b's, we have b to the power of 12, and then just b. So that should be b to the power of 13. And then you're done. But when we look at this, everybody, we might say that, hey, we don't want a negative exponent, which is true. And so we simplify this by solely focusing on the a to the power of negative 3. We're going to place that in the denominator, and we're good. So we have b to the power of 13 over a to the power of positive 3. And notice how the answer stays the same. 2 ways to do it. There was 2 ways to do it. So again, in one sense, you can start by making all negative exponents positive in the beginning, or just say, screw it, and then take care of it at the end. Either way is fine, as long as you perform those properties and laws the right way. So let's get into problem number 2 here. I want to try this next one out. So here we have x to the power of negative 1 y squared. All of that in a group to the power of 2. And then after that, you multiply by 2x. So there's a lot going on, seemingly, right? It feels like there's a lot going on, but it's actually, again, very doable. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and apply the power of a power law and multiply the exponents by that 2. So what that means is we'll have x to the power of negative 1 times 2, which negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. We have y squared times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we have the multiplication of 2x right there. And so let's take care of business. What do we have now? Well, notice that the y is going to stay the same. There's nothing really going with the y. We just have a regular old 2 there, so that'll just be a 2 up front. With the x's, we notice we have x squared, or x to the negative 2, be careful there, and a positive 1 for that x. So what do? Again, apply your product of power laws. Here what we'll have is negative 2 plus 1. Because remember, you add those exponents, and if you don't see an exponent, the exponent is always 1. So here we have negative 2 plus 1, which will end up becoming negative 1. And then we have y to the power of 4. Like I said before, nothing happens there. It just stays as is because there's no other y, just like with the 2, and we're good. Now, lastly, what do? Again, we don't want negative exponents. Let's go ahead and take that x to the power of negative 1 and convert that into the denominator to make it a positive 1. So this becomes 2y to the power of 4 all over just x. X to the power of positive 1, which we don't need to write positive 1. It's just there. And so there we go. Booyah, the answer here is B. So hopefully we're feeling a little better about mixing in these topics, but I'm going to go through quite a few examples in this problem here. Again, take it one step at a time, treat it like the order of operations, and you're going to have yourself a pretty good time. Let's go ahead and try out number 3 here. Number 3, we have a lot going on here. But the first thing that I noticed, everybody, is this. The first thing I noticed is that, hey, we have all of this to the power of 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So goodbye. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So what we really have, my party people, is this. Everything that's left over. 2x to the power of negative 8 y cubed times 2y to the negative 8. Let's be real, my ASVAB party people. You're enjoying this YouTube video, but why don't you join me for a free class? I host a free class once a week for 2 hours. So imagine 2 hours of free ASVAB math instruction by yours truly. We get to ask questions, grow with me, raise your score, and get the job you want. So go ahead, click the link here or in the description to sign up for free. And from there, I'll see you in the next class. But until then, let's get back to the math party. And so let's go ahead and apply this one step at a time. We have everything lined up being multiplied, so let's apply that product rule by going ahead and first focusing on the numbers. 2 and 2. So 2 times 2, that's going to end up being 4. From there, my math party people, we have x to the power of negative 8, and there is no other x being involved, right? No other x is being involved, so we can just call that x to the power of negative 8. But remember, if we wanted to simplify this right now, we could by just throwing the x to the power of negative 8 into the denominator to make it positive. But for right now, I'm going to leave it as is. And then lastly, we see that we have y cubed, y to the power of negative 8. So we're going to apply that product rule. Add the exponents. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. So we have y to the power of negative 5. Okay, lastly, what do? The last thing we'll do, everybody, is make sure that the negative exponents become positive. So if you already did this step, great, but if not, here's how you do it. We're only going to focus on the pieces that have negative exponents. That 4 does not have a negative exponent. So that 4 is going to stay up top right there. And let me make sure that that is a little straighter. Okay, cool. So we have a 4 right there. And then the x to the power of negative 8 becomes x to the power of positive 8 by moving it to the denominator. And lastly, y to the power of negative 5 becomes y to the power of positive 5 by, again, switching it between the numerator and denominator. That's how you can change a negative exponent to a positive, and vice versa. If I wanted to turn a positive to a negative, you can do that. Absolutely. But there it is. There's our answer, and that is answer choice C. So I'm hoping that this is starting to make a little more sense, my ASVAB party people and my math party people in general. Let's go ahead now and take care of number 4. This one looks nasty, right? This one absolutely looks nasty. So don't worry here. I got your back all the way. First and foremost, what you might notice is that, hey, look, we can actually, if we look at the group, the parentheses first, yeah, I know we might be focusing on that power of negative 4. I know. But first, focus on the group, the parentheses. Can you simplify anything first? Because that looks like a lot, right? Doesn't have to be. Because if you notice, okay, great. We have a 2 by itself right there. So that 2 is going to go ahead and just stay a 2. Because there's no other regular numbers. But what do I notice here? I have m to the power of 6, m to the power of 5. I can combine those applying that product rule. Because we have the same base, the m, we have 6 and 5 as the exponents. Add those exponents to make that m to the power of 11. Next up, notice that we also have n to the power of 4, n to the power of negative 10. Okay, what happens there? Well, remember, same deal. We add those exponents. So what we have is n to the power of 4 minus 10. 4 minus 10 is what? Well, 10 minus 4 is 6. So 4 minus 10 is negative 6. You have to be strong with your arithmetic here because, again, it's going to keep applying itself little by little throughout every problem. And so we still have that exponent of negative 4. And so here's my advice. Instead of going ahead and making this into the denominator and then applying you don't have to do all that. My recommendation is really just worrying about those negative exponents worry about them at the end unless it's very useful or helps you see something better while you work it out. But here, no, you're good. All you need to do first of all is go ahead and apply the power to a power rule and multiply those exponents by the -4. Then clean up any negative exponents at the end, because notice you're multiplying by a negative, so you're going to have some switching going on. And so here we go. Notice that there is no exponent on the 2. Remember, that's going to be a 1. So what we have here is 2 to the power of -4. Then we're going to have ourselves m to the power of 11 times -4. 11 times -4 is -44. And lastly, we'll have over here for the n, -6 times -4. Remember, a negative times a negative, that's a positive. So that's going to be positive 24. And so take a look here. How can we fix this up? How can we finalize this? Well, what we can do is going to be this. We're going to be able to change any negative exponents to be positive ones by first taking a look here. That regular old number, okay, that 2 to the power of -4 becomes 2 to the power of +4. And then on top of that, we have m to the power of -44, so that becomes m to the power of +44. And then lastly, the n to the power of 24 stays where it is. Nothing needs to change. N to the power of 24 for that one stays where it was. So the last thing we need to go ahead and just kind of figure out in detail is what's 2 to the power of 4? Well, 2 to the power of 4 is going to be right over here. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And so with that said, my final answer is going to be n to the power of 24 over 16m to the power of 44. And that is answer choice D. Nice and easy. So my party people, I'm going to go over 1 or 2 more here for this first mixture of problems, and then we will take it to the next one where we'll keep practicing and keep doing some great things. So let's go ahead and take it over here into a very nasty one. Let's take into number 7. This one looks pretty difficult, right? Let's go ahead and take care of number 7. Let's go ahead and understand how to do this one here. So first and foremost, you want to work your way from the innermost group. So what I mean by that is this. Focus on the innermost group right here with the exponent -5 only being applied to these two. Again, notice how it's a group right here. And so this -5 only applies to that group. Not everything. No. That's the 2. The 2 we'll take care of after. Let's go ahead and focus on one piece at a time here. So I'm going to rewrite everything. M squared n to the -2 times m cubed n to the -2. But this right here is what I'm going to take care of right now. And here is your regularly scheduled announcement, my party people. Remember guys, I host a free class every single week and more classes beyond that. So make sure to check the group tutoring schedule so you know when the classes are, when you can expect to see me live so you can raise your score and get that job you want. So click there to see the schedule, and let's keep getting back to the YouTube video right over here. So what we're going to have is when we distribute that -5 power to a power law, we're going to have m to the power of 9 times -5, which is -45. Then we have n to the power of -6 to the power of -5. So -6 times -5 is a positive 30. Boom. And then you have that power of 2 outside, right? Because again, that power of 2 is outside of that initial big parentheses. And that's exactly where it stays. So again, take it one step at a time. All I did was do that one piece first. Now, I only have one parenthesis left. And I'm going to ask myself, what can I simplify in there? And what I noticed is this. I have m squared, m cubed, m to the power of -45. All of my m's, I can go ahead and combine using my product rule. My product rule, when you're multiplying the same powers, you add their exponents. So we have a positive 2 plus 3 minus 45. Okay, so 2 plus 3 minus 45, that's 5 minus 45, and that's going to be negative 40. We have to know our arithmetic here. If you're not quite used to it, make sure to go back to the section in the course or program where we talk about mental math and calculating. That way you can get used to that all the way through. But here we go. We have ourselves here m to the power of negative 40. And then over here in green, we have n to the negative 2, n to the negative 2, n to the 30. We're going to go ahead and add those exponents. Negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 30, negative 4 plus 30, that's the same as saying 30 minus 4, which is 26, positive 26. And again, we still have that power of 2. Look at how much simpler this is starting to feel, right? Again, we're taking it one step at a time. Now, the last thing we'll take care of here, my math party people, is going to be this right here. We will now apply that rule here of the power to a power. We'll apply that one again now. So notice what we're doing is we're going to be multiplying those exponents by 2 each. So with that, we're going to have m to the power of negative 40 times 2, which is negative 80, multiplied by n to the power of 26 times 2, and that's 52. And sweet, there it is. Our final answer, my math party people, is just going to be addressing that negative exponent. And so that negative exponent will leave a positive 80 in the denominator with the m. So we'll have n to the power of positive 52 up top, m to the power of positive 80 in the denominator. Got to make sure you take care of business there to turn that negative into a positive. And there's your final answer. The answer is D. So I know that seems like a lot, right? It seems like a lot, but if you can handle these, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to handle this when it comes time to take the test because you know exactly how the rules work. So with that said, my math party people, that is probably it. Let's see if we can do one more here. You know, if we wanted to do, let's say number 11, yeah, again, we just want to go ahead and first take care of that exponent. So what we end up having is going to be the same 2x squared, and then we'll have x to the power of 2 times 2, which is 4, right there. And then now we have y to the power of negative 2 times 2, because again, we're applying the power to a power law, and that'll be negative 4. Sweet. And then lastly, what we do to take care of business, my party people, is, hey, the 2, nothing doing there. But then we have x squared times x to the power of 4. So that's going to be adding those exponents. We'll have x to the power of 6. And then that negative exponent that we see with y to the power of negative 4, put that right into the denominator, and you're good. And there it is. Again, we're just applying one rule at a time, checking our work, making sure that we're good, and that's what creates a correct answer. So again, as long as you're practicing and taking your time, you're good. And remember, if you're in the course of the program and you're doing a problem that you don't quite understand, send it over to me. I got you. You have my contact info. You can also find it if you're on YouTube in the description of this video. And on top of that, if you're not in the program, make sure to get it. It's the easiest thing to help you with studying because at the end of the day, everything's lined up for you and all you have to do is sit down and get to work. I'm Coach Anderson. Hopefully this helps you, my party people. Let's keep moving forward and let's keep raising our scores. I'll see you in the next video. And so we both know this video just helped you with your test anxiety by just a little bit. And to keep lowering your test anxiety and keep raising your confidence, that's what my ASVAB All-Access program is for. The link's right up here. Click it, watch the video on how it works, and you'll see exactly why thousands of my students have raised their scores and gotten the jobs they want. So click there, watch the video, and sign up to raise your score. I'll see you soon.